Every morning, speak positive words into your life. Think big. Think healing. Think success. Think peace. Think happiness. Think growth mindset. Begin each day with a surge of positive energy. You deserve it. Let positivity be your guide and watch your world transform.
So, good morning, everybody. Again, I hadn't done this in a while, so I'm just going to do pre-market with you guys. I'm going to zoom through this really quick, looking at the futures. We are off of the highs for the Dow, but the NASDAQ has been cooking. I've already been printing on futures already. Right now, I'm looking at the NASDAQ futures. We're sitting at 26,050, so this is actually lower than what I'm reading right now. We actually had a high of 20,063. So we may actually pull back just a little bit this morning. I want to take a quick look at QQQ with you guys, and I want you to make sure you take some notes on what I'm going to tell you. So right now we're in a rising wedge. If QQQ breaks above 630.57 at this point, you definitely want to have some type of exposure to calls, but be prepared for the downside. We're already seeing a little bit effect of that right now. QQQ might pull back to 629.87. I would set an alert right there at 6:30:04 just to start watching it. I want you to make sure you map out your first 15-minute candle high and low. That's your opening range, and also look at your 30-minute high and low. Mark those lines as well. QQQ possibly back down to 629.57. There's going to be a lot of profit taking out the gate this morning. Lisa Su is going to be on CNBC, as most of us heard before we started this recording this morning. We've got a little bit of rejection right now on AMD, and I saw a little bit of trolling yesterday on Instagram from some social media influencers about somebody's perspective about buying AMD right now when it was once like 88 bucks. So at this point, I think AMD might consolidate. It might catch some support at 256.82. Right now, I'd be looking for it to test 257.67 at the moment. But if it happens to push up a little bit, we want to be in calls or have some exposure to it above 258.77 with the target price of 260.31. NVIDIA also has been on the move. This has been a large reason why the NASDAQ has been pushing this morning. So looking at NVIDIA, if it breaks this 193.58, we're going to push up close to 194. Right now, we've already started to reject on NVIDIA. I'm expecting it to possibly come back to about 191.75 intraday. We're in a rising wedge, which is a bearish pattern here on the 15-minute time frame. But as we get closer and closer to earnings, NVIDIA wants to continue to establish and maintain that previous all-time high that it once had around 195.63 and maybe edge its way up to that $200 price. But don't be surprised today, ladies and gentlemen, if NVIDIA starts to kind of pull back a little bit. And like I said, come back down to about that 192 to 191 price. Okay. Also, SoFi has reported earnings. We had a high of 31.66 in the red E this morning. I did kind of give a brief perspective of what I think is going to happen with SoFi this morning. And just to do a recap while it's loading here, I said that we did run up to 31.66, but I wouldn't be surprised if SoFi comes back down to as low as $30.26 today. If we happen to lose the $30.26 due to some profit taking, I could see SoFi maybe catching some support at 29.40. Possibly at that 30.26 though, if it does catch support, we could push back up to the prior high after they reported earnings, which was around 31.67, to get it up to about that $32 to $34 on a swing trade. We're just at a premium zone right now. It broke out of that descending triangle, which is a bullish pattern. So it will be interesting for swings. I think you're going to get another buying opportunity to get position for swings on SoFi, but please be cautious about trying to chase the day trades. Microsoft, we're already positioned in this one. Microsoft jumped up to 557.55, which is almost right there where the prior all-time high was. We kind of pulled back on that liquidity grab here. I'm just going to go left a little bit. And yeah, I think it was what, 555.36 was the high, the all-time high. So I love to see us get there. Right now we're at 551.60, and I'm loving this momentum because we were already prepared for this. The implied volatility is increasing on Microsoft. This is another driver why the NASDAQ and the Qs are actually moving pre-market. This is also going to impact your SPY. So we like what's happening with Microsoft right now, but just be careful about chasing. There may be some profit taking. There may be some continuing to hold, depending on the expiration dates that are in place for Microsoft, but I'm liking what I'm seeing right now. Volume tick is showing that a little bit of pullback is imminent. So there will be some possible profit taking, like I said, on Microsoft, but I do like this for earnings, okay? And of course, as previously mentioned, SPY is catching some of that momentum as well. SPY is off of the highs at 687.23. We caught some support on this fair value gap at 686.84. As you're looking at it now, SPY is possibly going to come back down to that 686.46. Could actually bounce at that level. But guys, if we lose 686.10, we need to have some type of exposure to puts with the target of 685.65 down to about 685.31. There's also a breaker block here at 685.03, but I think we kind of hover around that range today. And then also I threw U up here again because I think uranium and lithium plays are going to start picking up again here in the next few weeks. So again, I think this is a good buying opportunity to get positioned for the long term here on UUU. And as I previously mentioned earlier, I did drop some gems on SoFi in my channel in the Red E Society, and I said they did beat earnings, as we all know. Kramer did warn about some profit taking, so because he warned, I think it could continue pushing, but just be careful with it. And also the TAs there on SPY. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to keep you long because I do want to take some questions. But before I do that, I want to slide over to Tradie Tick so you can see the market sentiment. Right now, they're calling for bullish sentiment. With about 70.52 million spent on calls. I think that's picking up the data from yesterday. But right now, as the market is getting ready to open, we're neutral. Keep in mind, SPX has two gap downs. And of course, looking at our lotto plays, we got a lot of calls on NVIDIA, Intel, ASST, which we bought shares of that. ASST was pulling back a little bit this morning. A mixture between calls and puts on SPX. We're in an ascending triangle, which is bearish on the SPX, so please be careful. But with Apple, Microsoft, and a lot of these larger market cap tickers reporting earnings this week, the volatility is pretty daggone high. So again, trade with caution and understand that everything that we looked at today is not financial advice, okay? So let's get to it. I see a few questions already in the chat, and I'll entertain those now.